Hello guys, I'm Naval Yamul. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Data Master. So in part 1, we have seen Databricks questions, interview questions. So let us move towards the part 2 of this video playlist. In part 2, we will start with what is DBFS. So DBFS stands for Databricks File System. So it will act as an abstraction for your storage. It will act as a virtual storage for your cloud. Maybe in the case of Azure, it is your blob storage, but your DBFS will act as a virtual storage or the abstraction of that storage. In case of AWS, your S3 is your data lake, S3 is your storage object. In case of AWS Databricks, your S3, your DBFX acts as an abstraction of that storage account. Moving to the next question, repos. So what is repos in Databricks? So even Databricks have a version control on their notebooks. So let me show you. If I go to workspace and if I open any of the notebook, for example, if I open this notebook, okay, you can see I have a notebook now. A notebook name is ingestion. So I have written few code here. Now if I see here, I have an option on the notebook side. This is for revision history. You can see I can find out everything what has happened on that notebook. So at this time I have written, I have not written anything. I have written the first code. I can see the entire script, the way on what time and everything. Everything is controlled here. Okay, but Databricks doesn't recommend this. It is a legacy feature. Uh, so what happens when we are working on a real time? Suppose I have developed something, okay, on a development phase, development environment, I have written the entire code. I want to push this. I want to save this. I want to push this to a production environment. Production environment. So we have to push it by using a Git or a GitHub. So there are various Gits providers. You may have a GitHub, you may have an AWS commit, you have an Azure DevOps. There are many things. So how to do that? So now in a new UI, in Databricks new UI, you get an option in the workspace, and here you get a repos. So you can click on this repos, and I have one repos already attached to my GitHub. You can see I have opened this. Suppose there is one notebook called widget. I have written something on this. So let me add one or two lines of code here. I'll show you exactly how does it look in a Git. So let me do open this GitHub here, my GitHub account. So I have a branch called TSIP branch. In that TSIP branch, I have one main, in my main branch, I have one notebook. I have one more branch called development branch. In the development branch, I have many notebooks. You can see widget notebook. Now in widget notebook, I have all my scripts here. You can see last script is my dbutils dot widget dot get calendar, and I can see it here. Okay, widget dot calendar here. So after that, I have run two more scripts. So let me run one more script here. Suppose print, I say hello Databricks. Okay, just for example. Now I'll want to push this code in the Git. I want to push this here. I want to see that hello Databricks command here. So how do I do that? So I can just click on it, and now it will ask you to, okay, you can see there are some changes. 1 2 3 lines of changes are coming here. So you cannot see those 3 lines here. Okay, I can see that. So you can just write a message here like commit. So click on commit and push. So with this click, okay, obviously I have done some Git integration. I'll show you how. If you are interested, please let me know. I'll make a separate video on that, how to make a Git integration. Now you got a message like successfully committed and pushed it to a branch dev. So development is my branch. Let me quickly refresh few things here. in my widget here. Can you see Hello Databricks here? Please confirm. So you can maintain all your scripts to your GitHub by using this repository feature that is brought by Databricks. You can see it here. Let us proceed with the next question, that is define the schema and what are the different ways. So you can define the schema by using a pyspark style, or you can define a schema by using a string type, or by using a list type. So depending upon the data complexity, if it is a CSV file, you can go with the string type or a list type. If it is a complex JSON file and if you want to define a schema, like if you have some arrays, if you have some nested data, then the recommended way to define a schema is by using a struct type and struct field by using a pyspark style. So this is about the define the schema and the different ways in that. Moving forward to discuss what is Lakehouse. So Lakehouse is nothing but it is a combination of both. It is a combination of your data lake and the data warehouse. So it combines both the features of data lake as well as your data warehouse. And your data lakehouse sits on top of your existing data lake. So whatever your data lake is, on top of that data lake you have your lakehouse. And we have one more terminology here that is called as a delta lake. So delta lake is a open source format that format is nothing but a Parquet file, but with Parquet you get some transaction logs with it. Some transaction logs with it. So if you are converting your data lake, so if you are writing data lake into a delta lake format, that becomes a lake house. That becomes a lake house. So I have a separate videos on my YouTube channel. I request you, if you want to go deep dive into that, like all about the delta, what are the internals of the delta, I strongly recommend you to watch those videos if you want to go deep into what is lake house and what is delta lake. Okay, so moving forward, we have a multi-hop architecture and a medallion architecture. I have a video on YouTube you can watch. I'll give you the link for these. It is also called as a medallion architecture. It is also called as an bronze, silver and gold architecture. So let me show you a website here. Yeah, so I'm into the delta.io. So now delta.io, Delta Lake is an open source project. It is donated to the Linux Foundation. And you can see you can build the lake houses with the Delta Lake. So if you look at this image, your lake house is sitting on top of your existing data lake. So whatever your data lake might be, your Google Cloud, your HDFS, your ADLS, Amazon S3, anywhere on top of that you have a lake house. It can handle both streaming data and the batch data. So here we use a bronze, silver, gold architecture, medallion architecture, or also called as a multi-hop architecture. So whatever the data is getting in, we store that in a bronze layer without looking at the source file. You may have any data type, you may have null values, you may have duplicates, you may have corrupt records, you may have change in the data type. Whatever the data is coming into the source, we put it in a bronze table, or we also call it as a ingestion table. So how to ingest this? There are multiple options how we can ingest it. We will talk about that moving forward. Then you have a silver table where we also call it as a refined table. So we start cleaning this data, start reshaping this data, removing the null values, removing the duplicates, and we call it as a silver table. From this silver table, then we move towards the gold table or an aggregated data, a group data, and this gold table is connected to your analytics or BI or maybe machine learning for further downstream for doing an experiments, modeling, reporting, and all those things. So this is about the Medallion architecture. This is about the Medallion architecture. Okay, so if you want to know more on Delta Lake, you can see you got features of the Delta Lake also. So Delta Lake has a ACID, very good support for ACID transaction. For data lake, this was not there. Scalable metadata for data warehouse, it was not possible, but in Delta Lake it is possible. Time travel is possible in Delta Lake, maybe that is not possible in both. It is an open source. It unifies both batch and streaming. It is not possible in both. Schema evolution not possible in data lake or data warehouse, but it is possible in the Delta Lake. Your DML operation not possible in the data lake, but it is possible in the Delta Lake. So these are the features what makes Delta Lake so premium, and it makes all the enterprises now are moving towards the Lakehouse or moving towards the Delta Lake. So this was about the part 2 on Databricks interview questions, guys. Thank you for watching. So I strongly recommend you to watch part 1 of this video series and also part 3. So we will continue with the part 3. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, like the video. Please do comment if you want some additional questions where I want to discuss. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Keep learning.